didn't press studio mode. Welcome, guys, to the Hellstorm Wargaming pre-show podcast. Can you tell that I haven't quite caught up with the time zone and everything's going wrong?
Hashtag professionalism.
Hashtag professionalism too, right? Okay. Did that work? No, that didn't work. Oh, it did work. Okay. We're just gonna... Not that way. I just need like 30 seconds. So, guys, what did you have for tea today? Tell me in the chat.
This is a good question.
What did you have for tea, Jay?
I had a roasted pepper salad with sausages.
Did you? Oh, wow. Yeah. That sounds nice. I had
very tasty, very full of vitamins.
I had some garlic sausage with some greens. Some green beans and stuff.
So we both had sausage and veg?
Yes, we did.
That's an unfortunate sausage fest instance.
Sausage fest. Oh dear. Keep talking, everyone. I'm very nearly done.
Nice. Mikey's just getting some pretty pictures from Vegas, and seeing as it was the AV Awards at the same weekend he was there, I mean, you can read into that what you will.
Certainly can. I might have to cover Jay's face. Will you be offended? I'll put it behind my head.
No, everyone else will be quite happy about that, I'm sure.
Yeah, if you stay to one side of the screen, I think we'll be okay. Okay.
Just lean back and maintain.
Yeah, exactly. That's perfect. That's perfect. Okay, so for some strange reason... Oh, the chat box was minimized, that's why. Hello, everyone. Hello. We're okay. You ready? Are you ready for this? I'm going to quickly show you what it's going to look like. Boom. Booyah. That looks okay, doesn't it? Banging. Okay.
I don't know, it looks like about 8 pixels for me, so...
That's all right, then. Tea is also a way of saying dinner. It is indeed. But if you're in the UK, it's dinner and tea, not lunch and dinner. In the real part of the UK now.
Wait. Hang on now. It's definitely lunch and dinner.
It's not. It's dinner and tea. You have a cup of tea.
This is the North-South divide coming back in.
You have a cup of tea before tea. Tom Brammer says it might improve the podcast if you cover Jay's face. Fantastic.
Cheers, Tom.
And he put JK, but I'm pretty...
I have a mohawk to draw attention away from the face and the beard to cover the rest of it. So.
Yeah, he says JK, but I think that means just saying. I think he mistyped.
Oh, I think it meant like JK, as in, I'm going deeper on the ground.
It's chuffing tea. It is, lad. It is. Tell him. I say lunch and I'm from the proper part of the UK. Whereabouts? Don't tell me your home address. I don't want to know. We've had
doxing people.
I'm about to say we've had enough doxing on this podcast for one entire lifetime. So,
God.
So welcome everyone. Yes, Joe is back. Joe Middlecate.
No.
Yes, Halfling.
Not doing that.
Wait. You say lunch, but you're from the proper part. You're from the proper part, so yeah, but you say the wrong thing, but that's okay. I'm currently sampling ice cream that I made last night. It's pretty good. What ice cream are you having? Oh yeah, I still got the clip with Joe's phone number. No, you don't, you liar. I checked.
It does not exist.
It does not exist. I'm going to double check again. There's no clips in the top 30 days.
Joe who works at C Studios as well, so we need to not have that as a thing.
Oh dear.
It's Joe Jones.
Oh yeah.
Everyone knows Joe Jones.
JJ.
Boss.
Or Joe Jones Sinanapa is his.
That's right. His Instagram.
His Instagram. Jojo Sinanapa. But yeah, you're the other Joe.
Brilliant.
Joe Middlecate.
I made vanilla bean base with butterfinger bits in it.
I'm checking in to see the best Mohawk in 40k. Mikey's Johnny Bravo pour attempt. Thanks, man. Do the monkey with me. He made a vanilla bean base with butterfinger bits in it. Nice. Very nice.
Banging.
Lunch, tea, then supper. Bloody hell. It's just getting outrageous now. It's breakfast. Second breakfast.
Then
brunch.
Yeah.
Dinner. Tea.
What happened to 11s? And you've missed afternoon tea.
I don't count. That's not a meal. Afternoon tea is a tea. It's like a drink and a coffee.
No, afternoon tea is like finger sandwiches and little bits of tiny cake and French fancies and tea.
Is it? Oh, well, there you go. I'm just going wrong. That's why we get work done in the north, and down south they're just busy.
That's right. Having lunch.
Prancing around, having it at lunch, dinner number 2, lunch, tea, all mixed together. Afternoon tea is cake, and cake is life, says Imperial Bunker. I totally agree. 11s are at 11. Yes, they are, Crosby.
Imperial Bunker, what up, dude?
You're doing that at brunch is a mix of lunch and breakfast. Yeah, so you have bacon and eggs with soup. And a sandwich.
You have bacon and eggs, but instead of having it on toast, you just stick the other bit of toast on top.
Oh, mate, I'll tell you something. This is a little bit of a spoiler to the rest of the podcast, but I went for Denny's for breakfast, right?
Nice.
And because it's an all-American diner, I need to experience it. And I went for pancakes, right? I ordered cinnamon pancakes. So what do you think's involved with cinnamon pancakes, Jay? Have you been to the US before?
I've flown down the coast of the US on the way to Cuba, but that's the closest I've been.
So you've never been to a diner. Okay, so you order cinnamon pancakes. You go, hello, sir, can I have cinnamon pancakes and a coffee, please? What do you think the next question is?
Nice. Small or large, being America.
No, but do you want sausage or bacon? And I go, bacon. And they go, how would you like your egg? And I go, runny. And they look at me, gone out. And then Tank says, sunny side up. And I was like, okay, yeah. And he was like, don't cheese on your hash browns. And he was like, yeah. And then it came, and it turns out that when you order pancakes in an American diner, you get a fry up at the same time.
Wow. You know what I've never ever thought is that when eating pancakes with maybe bacon and maple syrup, what I really want is a side of fried breakfast. But
well, I had bacon, egg, and what they call hash brown, which is just basically chopped potato slapped on your plate with cheese, and then I had cinnamon pancakes on the side. There's like another plate with maple syrup and lots of sugar. Anyway, I think
nasty stuff.
Oh, mate, it was just insane. It was like there was like the pancakes are like as big as my face, right? And there's like 4 of them, and then it was like covered in icing sugar mixed in with cinnamon, and then on top it had more icing sugar, and then 2 or 3 blobs of cream covered in cinnamon. And then I thought this just isn't enough, so I got maple syrup and smothered it. And I was like, when in Vegas. After I'd finished my fry up, yes.
Wow. So the pancakes were dessert for breakfast for the
fry up. Yeah, I was like, what? I was looking at this guy, I was like, I'm pretty sure I ordered pancakes, but I'm foreign, so I'm just going to go along with it. I'll have bacon and eggs, please, thank you.
Wow.
I did leave with diabetes. I'm actually 6 stone lighter than when I left Vegas. Then when I went to Vegas, because they chopped my leg off on the way out.
There we go. Sorted.
Okay.
If your leg weighed 6 stone, though, they've got problems already.
I don't know. I've got big feet, I suppose. Okay.
Let's end that one there.
Yes. I think the sound's okay. I'm already warm, so I'm going to have to take my branded t-shirt and jumper off. I'm just going to wear a normal t-shirt. 1 second.
Bow, wow, wow, wow. Bow, wow, wow, wow. Bow, wow, wow.
There was a cheeky nip slip there, so
we had the music for it. Don't worry.
Thanks, man. So I'm just going to go with
Unfortunately, your t-shirt didn't.
A solid Batman t-shirt. Okay.
Nice.
You ready?
Always.
Is everyone at home ready?
I'm ready for stop stroking you there.
Welcome, guys, to Hellstorm Wargaming Podcast number 27. 7? I should really check. I should bloody check.
27.
Number 27! It's number 26. Have I not updated it properly? Yeah, I've not updated the title properly. I've put number 26 like an idiot. What a doofus.
Wow.
Okay, we're going to start again in a second.
So to everyone that normally watches my stream, it's not just me that this happens to. Mikey's been doing this for a lot longer. So.
Yeah, so it says 26 on the title, but it's actually number 27. So there you go.
It says 27 on mine. What are you doing?
Do you know on the video title where it says Hellstorm Wargaming, please subscribe?
Oh!
It says number 26.
Nice.
Okay. Counting is hard, man. Mate, honestly. I'm just not with it. I think I need another week before I'll be with it.
Well, that's generous.
Yes. Okay. Welcome, guys, to the Hellstorm Wargaming Podcast number 27. Yeah, got it right first time. Yeah, 0 deaths.
Nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. No rehearsals done.
Nailed
on
it.
point, Mikey.
Nailed
Good delivery.
Everyone listening back on the podcast, thank you very much for tuning in. You can join us live, even though it is normally a train wreck. But welcome to the podcast. This is what happens in Vegas gets spilled on a podcast.
Nice.
So thank you very much for tuning in. Obviously, I'm Mikey from Hellstorm Wargaming. I am joined tonight by Jay, my regular co-host. Say hi, Jay.
Hey, everybody. How you doing?
Jay has some luscious farmer tones from down south. South of the UK. It's very OR. Thank you very much for tuning in, everyone. If you're watching live, then thank you very much. We go live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch every single Monday night at 7:30 Greenwich Mean Time or British Summer Time, depending on what time of year it is. Or you can listen to this back on Spotify, SoundCloud, iTunes, Podbean, or the Hellstorm Wargaming website, I suppose.
Best place to watch right there, man.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you very much for tuning in, guys. Really appreciate it. Today we're going to be talking about Las Vegas Open 2020, which is the most recent event that I attended. The world's biggest event ever.
What an absolute barnstormer that must have been.
Oh, mate, it was insane. 1,000...
How many were there?
1,024 players bought a ticket. 850 odd turned up.
That's not bad.
Maybe 100 dropped out for reasons.
For reasons.
For reasons. But we'll go into that. This is all about... So today's show, what we're going to do, we're going to talk about how my games went. Halfway through that, we're going to talk about some of the drama, because the drama happened halfway through the event.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about some other stuff that we saw. We're going to talk about what we thought. And then Jay's got some questions that he's going to ask me about, particularly about the event. And then at the end of the show, we have the premium group community group question time, which is for premium subscribers. So if you subscribe to hellstormwargaming.co.uk, if I can say it, you get access to our premium group where you can talk to me or any of the Hellstorm team or Jay directly. And also every week we ask specific questions. So if you want your question answered, sometimes I miss them on live because it's a busy chat. So we have like a dedicated time where we answer your questions regarding any topic.
Absolutely.
So
and it gives you time to think about your questions as well prior to the show, so you can really get something and you get a good answer from us rather than just whatever's off the cuff at the time, because we've got time to consider it too.
Yeah, exactly. So like I've got one dude has asked 5 questions, but they're all like fairly short answers. So I've got 4 people who have asked questions, so I've had time to consider those rather than just being like someone asking me a question that I answer in 3 seconds later, and I'm like, I'm not going to go into detail now. I don't have time, for example. So if you want your dedicated questions, then we do a question time at the end of each show. So, I mean, I don't know really where to start. We're just going to talk about 6 games of Warhammer, I suppose.
Pretty much, dude. We know what army you took, because you talked about that on the last 2 podcasts.
Yes. I should probably show...
Go on.
I was going to say, I should probably show some extra... What I did... I've got pictures ready of the actual games, but I didn't get any of the event hall, which I definitely took pictures of, which I can show people as well, which is pretty cool. But yeah, so I took Imperial Fists, a list that I've been working on for quite a while. Essentially, if you listen to any other previous show, I took the same list to Cali Mayhem. Not Cali Mayhem, Caledonian... Uprising, yes, thank you, man. Which essentially, it's an Imperial Fist, it's 2 battalions, it's essentially like an intercessor spam with Stoker bolt rifles because of how efficient they are, with lots of dedicated artillery at the back. So you have Thunderfire cannons or whirlwinds firing over, going, pew, you're dead, and then all the intercessors either hide in the building and then just deploy, turn 5, and just go, I own the board. This is my fortress. It's made with flesh and blood and power armor. Or they just walk up the board, die in droves, but then shoot you back. So I'll show you a picture of the event hall, which was pretty insane. I said LVO is the largest event that's ever been held. It's obviously a picture of me in the event hall. There we go. If you're watching live, then amazing. If you're not watching live, then I apologise. But essentially, it's a picture of me doing the peace sign in front of people, putting probably the 500th board out. But like behind me, it's just rows and rows and rows and rows of tables, 6x4, loads and loads of terrain. I will say that hats off to LVO, FLG guys, because all of the terrain looked really good. None of it looked bad. It was all really nicely painted. None of it was broken or anything like that. And like it was just insane. So basically you had, I think it was rows of like 50 tables maybe, or maybe 30 tables. And there's just, on this picture alone, there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe like 10. So there's like 300 tables or something behind me in this one picture. And this is half the hall. There's like, there's like a pillar that I'm stood next to. And then on the other side of the pillar, this way, there's more tables in the same fashion. And then there's even more behind the cameraman. I appreciate I'm telling everyone how to suck eggs who's watching live, but if you listen to the podcast, hopefully that was a good description. So yeah, it was
descriptive.
It was absolutely insane. And the thing is, it was one hall, which that's what shocked me the most. It was just one big room of Warhammer 40k, which is insane.
So there's two things that are widely associated with a gigantic gathering of 40k nerds.
Okay.
One is the noise.
Yes.
The other one assaults a different one of your senses.
Yes, so the noise was quite bad, but it wasn't terrible. It was kind of like any other large event that you might think of. So it was loud, but you could hear your opponent. You couldn't really hear the other tables, but if you shouted loud enough, you could hear each other. I apologise, I'm slurring my words tonight. Perfect for a podcast, honestly. But they did have air conditioning. However, during an incident, let's call it, between rounds 2 and 3, the air conditioning was turned off.
Oh.
Which was bad. Very bad. It was terrible.
Is that why there's a slight green tinge to the walls? That's not lights, that's
the toxins spreading. Yeah. Nagels rot, flying about.
Wow. That's dramatic.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your games then.
Okay. So I'm gonna do.
First game?
I'm gonna do like quick fire games. I'm not gonna be like turn 1. I did this. I'm gonna talk about a big play I had during the game and how it went, because I did rather well. I will say that you might. Well, actually, no. I'll tell you at the end how well I did. I did okay though. Okay. So this is my first opponent. This is Matt. He was an absolute legend, right? He's an awesome dude. He's wearing the Black Watch t-shirt. I don't know what that is, but there you go. If you listen to the podcast, you know what t-shirt he's wearing on the day.
Nice.
So he was running Salamanders, and he did tell me, which was very surprising to me, and a lot of people got annoyed at me, that he'd never played an ITC event, and this was his first proper tournament. And I was like, your first proper tournament is the Las Vegas Open 2020, the largest event ever to happen. Okay, then. He was such a nice dude. There's quite a few, I will say that he made quite a few fatal mistakes. He fell for my trick, which was, as you can see on this picture, even though it's under my head. So basically, this is a picture of deployment. The deployment was frontline warfare, which is pointed on of war for those people in the know. And it was mission 1, which seized grounds with 6 objectives. And the board is like an orc setup. There's a couple of L's in 2 corners. There's a couple of low buildings in each of the other corners. And then 2 little bunkers in the middle. Yeah, so this is like table 300 or something. And it was still really nice terrain. So the trick was, he's got salamanders, he's got unkillable dreadnoughts, and sadly you might not be able to see it, but I'll try and zoom in. But at the top left, next to this L, which is like here, there's a storm cannon and a toe poking out. I don't know if you can see that. You might be able to see it.
Just about.
Yeah. So essentially what I did is I have artillery and I have intercessors, and this, because it's mission 1 and because it's ITC, they still use 2 types of deployment. You have alternating, which is odd number missions, which is like 1, 3, and 5, and then you have even numbers where they go, I roll to go first, so you drop your army, I drop my army, for example, and then whoever deploys first goes first. But this is alternating, and then you get the +1. So we were alternating. It was very, very close circuit. So what I was doing is in the top right, I put my captain and the Thunderfire cannon down. So he dedicated his Invicta warsuit. So I counter-deployed at the opposite side under my face with a whirlwind, another whirlwind, and then a thunderfire. And then he put his Leviathan in that same corner. And I don't know if many people know, but Leviathans have really, really short range. And whirlwinds move 12 inches. So what happened was... And basically there's like two boxes in the middle of the board where I deployed 40 intercessors, a chaplain dreadnought, and all my characters. I also put these guys in this little building here in front of the whirlwinds. So basically what happened was I think he went first. The Leviathan was out of range because of the way the deployment is. Because you've got an angle on the Dawn of War, it's such a far deployment. Because normally you're 24 inches apart, but because there's an angle, it spreads you further apart.
Yeah, from where he is there, he's about 8 inches onto the table. So that's 16, so that's 32 inches.
Yeah.
At best, which is just outside of the Leviathan's threat range.
Yeah, so basically he advanced it forward. So what I did is I drove my whirlwinds towards my intercessors, and then I tremor shelled the Leviathan every turn for the rest of the game. So then it only moves 4, and it shot once into a single intercessor. Out of a squad that was basically dead.
I bet he blitzed that intercessor though.
He did. I mean, I just went to him. Look, mate, I'm just going to take it off, and he was like, "What?" And I was like, look, "In this sort of tournament,
he finally got to shoot it, and he just went, "No, mate, I've got this." I just took it off.
Yeah,
you
I was just
heartless son of a gun.
I was just like, "Look, mate, there's 20 dice. We've got half an hour left of the clock. I'm just going to take him off. It's fine. He's definitely dead. I'm not going to make all those saves. And even if I did, it'd be too rude of me to do that." But it was a super nice guy. It was a really nice warm up game because it was so chill. But it was kind of after my first, because basically what happened was he deployed a lot of his stuff on the front line, moved to try and get line of sight. And then my Imperial Fists on my first turn basically retaliated and deleted half of it. So he had it basically his list was like a Contemptor with a Twin Las Cannon and a Chain Fist, a Leviathan. He had a Quad Mortar, some Intercessors, a couple of tactical squads with a Las Cannon. Because it's Salamanders, you ignore AP1 and you also reroll a hit and a wound every phase. So a Las Cannon's like a really good one to have in the squad. But I mean, I've got so many bodies. And I don't really care about a Las Cannon. It kills an Intercessor, okay, fine. But then the Intercessor just shoots you back. Unusual, because I have a banner in there, and I've just got so many bodies that it's just like, it's such a... Unless you're running a spam of damage too, like a Leviathan Dreadnought, I'm like, okay, you can just keep shooting me, that's fine. I've got enough bodies to weather the storm. Which is why the Leviathan just got left to one side, and I just kept moving away from it.
Yeah, exactly.
But
good play.
Yeah, so it was. I can't remember the second I took, but I do have a picture of my terrible score sheet that tells you the score. It wasn't quite a good win though for turn 1. There you go. There's a picture of the Leviathan and the Contemptor. He also had a Master of the Forge with a Lieutenant as well, and he had Agrax Earthshade because he kept calling it Agrax. I kept correcting him until I started correcting him, calling it Adrax to Agrax, which is obviously the Salamander's character. But yeah, as you can see, he's deployed them on the far line to try and go after my whirlwinds, and then I just counter-deployed completely out of the way.
Nice.
There you go. That's cool. It's very nice army. There you go. There's an Invicta Warsuit on my other flank, and 10 Intercessor. Yeah, really cool army. Really nice army. Really nice dude as well. Really cool game. I'm just sorry that I bullied you for welcome to tournament scene, dude.
Hey man, it could have been worse. You could have come up against far worse people than yourself.
Yeah. So I took Headhunter, Old Skull, and Butcher's Bill. There you go. So they're my 3 secondaries, as you might be able to see behind my head. And he took Headhunter, Ground Control, and Butcher's Bill. Sadly, he didn't have any units left in the last turn, so he couldn't score any points with Ground Control. But the final score was 33-11. So it's the downside of taking Ground Control. You're kind of relying on surviving. So like, if you're losing, it's a terrible secondary. If you're winning, it's a great one.
Yeah, if you're winning, you've got it anyway. It just is the final nail in the coffin.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's no comeback from it.
Yeah. I can't remember which Old School I missed. I imagine it was First Strike. Maybe First Strike, yeah. I think what I did was basically hit a lot of units and weaken them, but I didn't kill any. So I think I missed First Strike on that one. So that was game 1. So I did really well. So boom, then I played this absolute legend from Blackheart Wargaming. His name was Jay. He's from Bristol. travel 3,000 miles to another country and play someone from 5 hours down the road. Typical.
But it's awesome though, because Jay is a very good friend of mine, so I'm glad you got to play.
Yeah. But I will say that this was an hour after the round should have started. So the drama is happening already, guys. So basically what happened is when I went to put in my score, my 33-11 against Matt, normally when you submit on BTP, you both put your numbers in, you stick your pin in, you go, thanks to the game, shake your hand, and then you press submit. And what happens is it shows you your pairing, and then it shows you the score underneath. But it wasn't doing that, and I was like, that's weird. That is weird. So I went over to a TO, and I was like, look, it's game 1, and I already can't put a score in. What's going on? And then he had a look, and he could see the score on his end, but it wasn't showing up underneath the pairing. It was like, he clicked on the pairing to see who was playing, and it showed it, and it was like, 33-11, save, as if you'd submit it. But then when you submit it, it didn't show up on your name, so it was like it was there, but also wasn't there, which is the power of programming, right? So it turns out, so I rushed my dinner because I basically played that game to time, had a great chat with Matt, he was a great dude. So I rushed my dinner, came back at 1:15, and then the games hadn't started yet, and the rounds hadn't started. So essentially what happened is they couldn't pull the next round because BCP was saying all the scores weren't in, but all of the scores were in, but not quite in, if that makes sense. So what they had to do is take every single score. Bearing in mind, there's 850 people playing a game, right? There's 425 scores. So what they had to do is they took every single pairing score and then manually did it on a Google Doc.
Wow.
Right? And then what they did was they said, okay, BCP's not working. Like, fair play. This is John from FLG, Salty John. He's a nice dude, and I don't blame the judges at all because what they had to work with, they smashed it, right? I will give them some advice, though. Back up. Have a backup. However, what they did was they said, we've made a Google Doc, we've done it manually, so go to the Frontline Gaming website to find the pairings, right?
Cool.
Do you know what happened, Jay?
The internet died.
FLG's website crashed because so many people tried to access it at one time. So then they said, 40, it was like this as well. It was like, 40k players, please access the Frontline. And then it was like 30 seconds later, 40k players, please find the pairings on Facebook instead. Which was absolutely hilarious. Honestly, it was so funny. I was just like, I clicked on it. I wish I took a screenshot. It was literally error 404. This website is not working. Really? And it's just like,
your pairings have not been
go to Facebook. So you couldn't load anything. Like, some people are on the website and the basically, like, you got posts. They made a new post for this pairing thing. And then people were on the website but couldn't see it, and then I could see it, and I was like, haha, I can see it. I clicked, and it went error 404, and I was like, for God's sake, man. So basically what they did was fair play. Something went wrong, surely, because a lot of the pairings weren't quite right, which is a real shame. But you've got one guy on a laptop, frantically, he's like banging away, and he's like, I'm going to put all these scores in, and then they took it in turns. And like, he's banging away, and he's like, surely, like, I don't know how many scores were wrong, but surely they made a mistake. I'm pretty sure there was a couple of... it's just
going to be a manual entry error.
Yeah, exactly.
It happens. It's one of those.
It's not their fault. They're 3 hours into their 15-hour shift of over 2 days, and the app's already gone wrong, so they've got to frantically type, and they've got 800 wargamers waiting for a pairing. I actually did a live stream. I'm going to put this in like a vlog at the end, but I actually did a live stream, and people were just like asleep on the table and like on the floor waiting for the pairing, and I was just like, look, these people are dying because they don't have enough Warhammer in the line. They want Warhammer and they're being denied Warhammer because of BCP.
Wow. These humanitarian aid right there.
Yeah,
get gelled off doing a single just for those people.
Yeah, exactly. So that was all well and fun. And then I think they had Stuart Black on the Warhammer live stream. Stuart Black being the lead 40k writer, just like talking some absolute rubbish, just trying to stall, being an absolute top, just stalling as much as possible, which is just hilarious.
Fair play. That's quite difficult to do, though. So
it is.
for
Yeah,
an hour.
It is. Yeah. I mean, we did it for 3 minutes and we struggled at the start. So, so that happened, and it was like, okay, we're an hour behind. It's a big event. We're gonna let that slide, right? That's totally fine. So then I played Jay. He was an absolute legend. He's a really nice guy. He had iron hands. I was like, this is where I fall. I'm not ready for this. The last game I lost at Caledonia Revolution or Uprising or whatever they want to call it was iron hands, and I lost.
That's right. Getting flashbacks right now.
Exactly. We played on table 88, and that is a very crucial number to remember.
Right.
So we played on table 88, which is one of the top 100 tables, and the reason that's important, the 88 is also important, but the reason that's important is because that is basically at the LVO, they had 400 odd tables, but the top 100 had standardized deployment, which I really liked. So yes. Also I've cropped it, so you've got more space now, Jay. I've cropped it so you're not getting blocked off by them. So basically what this means is you come to a table, you show each other your armies, you talk, oh, I've got this relic, and you go, oh, I've got that relic. Oh, it's the same relic because we're both playing Iron Hands.
Yeah.
And then you roll off to decide sides, and when you decide a deployment type, then you move the terrain, depending which deployment type you roll. And I will say, I really, really, really like this. So much so that I'm trialing it at the RTT that we're running in 2 weeks.
Awesome.
With the game map terrain, which is like a standard deployment type, standard terrain set that they do. Mm-hmm. And we're hopefully bringing that into our main GT, into the Hellstorm 5 in March. So the top tables will have a standard deployment type. Because it's something that I chatted to you about, Jay. I know I'm on a bit of a tangent, but we'll get there. It was like, I want to build the event, but I can't have a unique table on every table if I keep building it. So I need a standard deployment type, a standard terrain set that's going to be on every table. And you was like, the problem is you're on the same table every game. But what if you're on the same table but a different deployment every time? It's different, which makes it more interesting, I think.
So I've got some questions about this.
Go for
we
it.
can either leave this to the end or we can do it now. It's your choice.
We can do a quick one.
Okay. If you have any event that has standardized deployment ends up with a meta that works around the deployment for the terrain.
Sure.
So everyone knows at Nova you've got 2 elves, and people will take lists to either abuse or work against the elves, so their opponent can't abuse it. Do you feel that the sort of push towards either standardized terrain, which I feel is overall quite good for competitive play, or towards having slightly variable but still standardized terrain setouts, do you think that all that does is create its own smaller meta for that event? Or do you think that because of the way that it's laid out, everyone knows what to expect and they can have a bit more of a relaxed army list building?
I think a little bit of both, because I think the type of terrain at an event should come into how you build your list. A lot of time you don't know. You're basically going off pictures of last year or the year before or the last event. You go, has anyone got any pictures, or did anyone go, what was the terrain like? And I think if you're going to win an event, I think that's something you should be considering. What I think with this is, if I go, okay, we're using standardized terrain like the LGT, we've got this terrain set, here you go, it's deployed like this. I think you have a much higher advantage than if you go, okay, we've got this I keep calling it deployment, we've got this terrain set, it's different depending on what deployment you get. I think you can still game it, but not quite as easily, because you could play on the same deployment type every game, or you could play on 6 different ones. You could build an army that works for each one, don't get me wrong. You could say my list can work on any type of deployment type, depending what the terrain looks like. But I feel like that is part of what should come into list building anyway. If you're playing an event that's just got trees on it, that single tree that blocks no line of sight, you're not going to take indirect artillery, you're going to take big guns. Yeah. Whereas if you're playing on something that's got loads and loads of terrain and you can hardly move, you're not going to take Imperial Knights, for example.
No, I'm still going to take that.
Obviously, that was a loaded question. Go for it.
Yeah, for sure. With the fact you had to set up terrain as well as set up your army, you're already on a time limit.
Yeah.
Do you get given additional time for setting up the battlefield as well as everything else?
So the terrain setup is fairly loose. They basically said that there's two big L's, there's loads of walls and some trees and stuff. They basically said that the 2 big L's have a placement. Let's say On Hammer and Anvil, which is I don't know if I got a picture of the deployment type. No, I didn't. But essentially, on Hammer and Anvil, the two big L's go in the center. They're 9 inches from the center. That's the only measurement you get. Everything else is kind of just you just chuck it around. That goes there, that goes there.
Yeah.
Nothing's quite. It's not very strict, as it were. It's not everything has to be. This must be 10 inches by 6 inches from the board edge. It's kind of like the L's go here. Everything else fits around as long as it's fair. And you got 3 hours to play the game. And they said if you use a chess clock, you had 1 hour and 25 each. So you had 10 minutes to set up the board.
Cool.
And talk about relics before you started doing deployment.
That's good. I like that.
So, yeah.
So how did the game go, then?
So the game...
Jay's awesome looking Iron Hands there.
Yeah, so basically Jay's running what I call the zombie hands. It didn't have Pharos, but what he did have was the Chief Apothecary, which is a very notorious unit in the Iron Hands list. So he becomes the Chief Apothecary, he takes a Warlord trait, something about the future or something, gives everything a 6+ feeling of pain within 6. If you've already got a 6+ feeling of pain, it becomes a 5+. What you essentially have is intercessors that are more like plague bearers than they are intercessors.
With power armor and 2 wounds.
They have a 3-up save, they have 2 wounds, and a Stalker bolt rifle that rerolls to hit most of the time.
Oh, that's gross.
But the mission was mission 2 in the ITC. Oh god, I can't remember the name of it. Can you remember mission 2?
Totally reaching for the ITC battles app right
Quickly now. Stalling. Where's Stuart Black when you need him?
Well, yeah, absolutely. Right. We talk about 40k lore.
It's coming. It's coming. I can feel it.
Stop yelling, Matt. It's cut to the heart.
Cut to the heart. Yeah, there we go. So that's 3 objectives. 1 in the centre, 1 in each deployment zone. Run through the middle. So essentially, because we'd all Hammer and Anvil and we were in top 100, we deployed the terrain. What you have is 2 big L's, like 9 inches from the centre, and then you have walls behind it, and then you have some trees at the side. So he basically deployed all of his infantry in the L, and I deployed all of my infantry in the L. He had, I think he had double battalion, 2 units of intercessors, some infiltrators, some eliminators, and then on this next picture, as you can see, he had a repulsor, he had a master of the forge, he had a Duredio with the 5+ invuln bubble, he had a chaplain dreadnought, and he had a mortis dreadnought, or maybe I think he had a normal dreadnought because it had a twin las and a missile launcher.
Cool.
And I will say this was a very tough game because repulsors are very nasty, as most know, especially when they don't bloody die.
All right.
Yeah. He had a Duredio, Chaplain Dreadnought, and the Mortis Dreadnought, which are both characters, so you can't target them, which is, I'll tell you something, a bloody nightmare. Because I was like, I've got Stalker Bolt Rifles, I've got 3 CP, I'm going to sniper that Mortis Dreadnought and absolutely nail him. But the problem was it was hiding behind a repulsor, so I could hardly get a line of sight of it. But essentially, I said, it's a shame I didn't take many more pictures, but essentially what happened is he said to me, how do I play this game? Because I'm hiding in an L, he's hiding in an L, he's got a repulsor, and I said to him, look, I'm just going to be super defensive, I'm just going to wait, and I'm just going to keep throwing artillery here. I've got 2 whirlwinds, which kills Primaris, and I've got 3 Thunderfire Cannons. Thanks, Pixie, for the follow. I've got 3 Thunderfire Cannons. So I'm going to pick off your Thunderfire Cannon first. I'm going to pick off everything else that isn't intercessors. Then they're going to join in. And I'm just going to keep deleting your infantry until you can't play the mission.
Yeah.
I said to him, what you need to do is I was like, I can't believe I'm saying this at the start of turn 1. I said to him, what you need to do is just be super aggressive, right? Just be super aggressive. Come in my face, and I'm not going to be able to do anything about it, right? You get that repulsor round the back of this L, then I'm dead. I'm so done. Right, so he did just that, which is what he should have done, kind of. Maybe he could have stayed at range, but I could just go Stalker Bolt Rifles. I'm just going to keep shooting it. The problem is every time I do that onto the top of the this is the motion for the top of the L, so I can see. Is he has a Duredio that deletes Primaris. So I'm like, I was like, I think this is the right advice. I don't actually know, but there you go. Just come at me, just come and bully my L, and then we'll just do that. So essentially, what happened is I'm like feeding him units whilst he comes closer to. Tom Brammer says, "Come in my face, Mikey 2K20."
Legit. You said it, and I was going to make a comment, and I thought, no, I'll let the chat have that.
It's legit,
one.
Honestly, it's legit. Like, just come in my face, it'd be fine. So basically,
I'm not going to make a hair gel comment.
No.
I'm on thin ice there.
So he's basically walking this Duredio towards me with the repulsor and the two things. I deleted his Thunderfire Cannon turn 1, that was fine, whatever. And essentially, because it's an objective in the middle, he's feeding it Primaris in there to get hold more. But I believe I had the bottom of turn, so every time he came out to get the objective, I killed him off the objective. So it was kind of like, just like, you come out, I chop the end off. You come out again, I chop the end off, essentially. To a point where I think I left the repulsor on 2 wounds on turn 1, and then he healed it back up a lot. And
Brilliant.
then I couldn't do anything about it. 1 second, I'm just going to moderate the chat. Apologies, guys.
So I'm assuming then, based on this, you went second, and obviously, if you can hide enough of your stuff, then you've got everything you need to be able to delete his stuff turn second, and thereby win the mission, rather than just win by taking everything of your opponent's out.
Yeah, exactly. So I think the secondaries were, I took like Big Game Hunter. No, I didn't think. I think I took. I can't remember what I took. We're just getting spam in the chat. Is anyone a mod? Can they just ban these people trying to spam stuff? Let's be a second. Apologies, people watching.
Sorry.
We're just getting spammed in the chat.
So, what was the sort of the moment where you're like, right, now I've won the game? Was it just that you sort of built up a score throughout and Jay couldn't come back to get over the top, or was there a point where he had committed and you?
Thank you for that. It was basically really neck and neck. We were both like trading blows at each other, right? And I looked. I think I had the bottom of turn, right? And I took Kingslayer because I was like, I'm gonna kill that Mortis Dreadnought. I'm gonna murder it, right? He's so dead. Turn 1, and then I was like, oh no, I've run out of CP already. I can't shoot it. So I killed the repulsor. No. I killed the repulsor, right? And like, I think the next turn he came over with a Dreadio, and then turn 6 it was like 17-16 or something like that. Basically, if I kill one and hold one, it's 17-17 draw, right? And I was like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do this? And he had the Dreadio, he'd hidden all his infantry, he had his Chaplain Dreadnought, and he had the Mortis Dreadnought, right? Yeah, the Dreadio is basically in the middle of the board with the 2 Dreadnoughts. And I was like, if my intercessors kill the Dreadio, and then the rest of my army kills the Mortis Dreadnought, I win by 3 points. Or maybe 4, because I'll get killed more as well. And I was like, oh, it's not going to happen. I'll take a draw. I'll take a draw at the LVO. That'll be fine. It'll be fine, right? So all of my intercessors shot into the Dreadio and only just managed to kill it. Right. All of my intercessors, all of my artillery, I think, maybe. Something like that, right? And I was like, okay, that's a draw. And I looked at Jay and I said, look, I've got a Chaplain Dreadnought left, right? He's got Twin Las Cannon. If he shoots that Mortis Dreadnought and kills it, I win. If I do 4 wounds to it, I win the game by 1 point. If I kill it, I get 3. I don't think I'll kill it. I'm going for 4 points. I'm going for 4 wounds. So I rolled to hit, double 1. I was like, God damn. Reroll. But it's what? 2s to hit. I'd had it moved, so I both hit. Both wounded, failed both his save. I only go roll a double 6 on damage, which is like, which is 14.
Feel no pain on that.
14 damage against it because I get +1 again with a heavy weapon, so it's 6, so which becomes 12. Each one becomes 7. I was like, go on then, feel this pain. Obviously, the Mortis died. I won by 4 points. I was just like, what the actual hell? It was like, kill more, and then 3 points for Kingslayer. I was like, oh my god, I can't believe that just happened. We hugged it out. We were like, that was an epic game. It's super cool. And yeah, this is a reason why Table 88 is very important. So that was game 2. We're doing all right, AJ. 45 minutes in. We're doing okay. Game 3, which should have happened 20 minutes after that game finished, funnily enough.
Yeah. And it probably should have been straight after almost.
Yeah, so the round should have started at 5. I think it was like 4:45 when I finished this game. Just want to say, if you're watching, Jay, you are a legend, and I really enjoyed that game. Not Joe, Jay.
So we have a way to the club we both play at of working out which Jay is the actual Jay. And for those of you who know me, this might be a little surprising, but I'm nice Jay, and we'll use a word that would be not very good Jay, shortened to one 4-letter word.
Nice.
So.
Smiling poo emoji Jay.
Smiling poo emoji Jay. There you go.
Oh, smiling pile
Great
of poo.
guy.
Smiling pile of poo, Jay. That's not a very nice thing to say, but there you go. Okay, so that was finished at like 4:45. Next round should have started at 5. However, we've obviously already had BCP issues at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know if anyone had realised, but we were already an hour late. So actually, no, it was more like 6 or something like that. So because BCP wasn't working yet, bear in mind the developer was on site working there, trying to get it fixed. And they were like, okay, come and give you scoring manually. So there was a queue, like a sea of people.
Oh, man.
Trying to give in scores. Eventually, I got in eventually.
400 people queuing for a bus.
Yeah. Well, obviously, it's like over the course of like 3 hours because you go when you finish your game. Not everyone finishes at the same time, so it wasn't too bad. I was waiting for like 5 minutes or something, which is fine.
Okay. Right.
They're taking the scores down on the pieces of paper, like, yes, what was your table number? What was your score? Get out of the way! It's so funny. Push for Hire UK, welcome, dude. Thank you very much for tuning in.
Hey.
So they're like frantically, like just taking scores, big circles around the scores. It was just like, oh my god, what is going on here? And as I said, human error does come into it. So then they manually putting all the scores back onto Google spreadsheet or BCP. I think BCP eventually worked, but they're basically taking manual scores. So there's human error coming into play again. So you're missing the odd points here and there. But it took them 2 hours to sort the pairing after round 3. 2 hours at round 2, sorry. So 2 hours after the round finished. So the day should have finished at 8 o'clock. I started my third game at 8:30.
That's rough, man. That's a long day of 40k.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's like I'm not gonna be like, oh, to be fair to the judges, they smashed it with what they had to work with. They absolutely smashed it. And I was just like, fair play. You can do that. You're doing it. You're doing what you can. Yeah. Like, obviously, it's a big event. Have a backup. If you're going to use a spreadsheet, then make sure someone's doing it as and then. You got BCP working. Take the scores in as soon as possible. Fair enough. You can't get around the fact that there's 400 people playing. There's like so many scores coming in, and you've got to do it within a time frame, right?
So I can't remember what event it was, but I'm sure there was an event. I'm positive I haven't made this up, where they had issues at an event not long beforehand with BCP for a similar kind of thing. They couldn't get the pairings right. And a lot of it is because there's like hundreds of people trying to use it and hundreds or thousands of people around the world trying to see what the lists are, how their mates are doing and stuff. But the event after that, they had some of the guys from BCP there on site to help deal with any issues. And I'm somewhat surprised that wasn't the case.
Oh, but they had the developer there. They had the guy who made the app there trying to fix it. But it's just like, basically what they've done is they've made this new way of reading lists. So they have a parse list. So basically you have something that scans your list to look for units.
Yes.
I apologize for Jay going dark. I was just turning notifications off because they kept popping up on Discord. So they have a thing that scans lists. So basically how they do that is they have every single list open on a server on Google Sheets or Google Docs. So every single list is technically a Google Doc. So they had 800 lists open all at the same time. And they've got
each one of those lists then is a separate instance of Chrome as well. So that's
on one server, yeah.
Your machine.
So there's that, but also there's not just 40k being run here. There's also CanCon's 40k being run, which is the Australian event, which has another 100, 200 players. They were running AOS on BCP. They were running on X-Wing on BCP. So they had like 2,000 players working on one app, which has a Google Docs open for every single list. And then you have all the people accessing it. You have all the TOs accessing it. So that's 2,050 minimum. All right. And then you have everyone at home tuning in, like, oh, I wonder what he's using in round 3. What's that? What are they using? So that's another, like, if every single person has one friend checking up on the games, that's 4,000 people. 4,050. It's just too much. It's just too much.
That is mental.
Apparently there was a data limit built within Amazon Google backend that caused the issue. Exactly. So there's just too many people accessing a Google Doc at the same time. So that's basically what happened.
It's not so much that, is it? That's what caused the issue. But the real issue was the fact that they didn't think about the fact there was that data limit there.
Yeah, exactly. But that's just a mistake, and it's like, okay, we didn't realise. But I mean, the problem is you've got people waiting for 2 hours, right? The thing is with that sort of thing. Like Vegas, what they say to you is Vegas, play your games. You're playing on Friday. Go out on Friday night. Go and see a show. You know, people have travelled all that way. Come with the family because, you know, they're in Vegas. You can't always go on your own like I did. Take your girlfriend, take your wife, take your kids. Go and see a show. Okay, cool. It's 8:30. What am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to play my third game? Or am I supposed to go and see a show? So what they did do is they said, okay, well, you can come and play your game first thing in the morning at 7, or 7:15 or something like that. And I'm like, fair play.
But that was, even that was not the ideal solution, because like getting up early, all right, cool, no worries. But there was a caveat with that, wasn't there?
Yeah, I'm just gonna address this, then we'll talk about that. Because there's something that's come up in chat that I want to address as well. Mm-hmm. So the fact is you're 3 hours late. So you start in 30 minutes after the day should have finished. So people have got shows booked, so they're going to have to drop out or play in the morning. And you got people like Nick, as someone's Flooded Red just pointed out. Nick Nanavati dropped out after his second game. He did lose that game, but also Nick was in the event hall until 8:30. So the problem is it looks like he's dropped out because he's lost. Mm-hmm. But I'm good friends with Nick now. Me and him are like, we're the magic together. So the problem is when you're waiting that long, and he was very drunk and bored. You're in Las Vegas and you're waiting in an event hall for 3 hours. If you've lost a game, like, he can't win the LVO, which he's done before. He wants to go in. He went and enjoyed Vegas. Tank dropped out as well because Nick was like, we've both lost. Neither of us can get into the top 8 now. Why don't we just go and enjoy Vegas? And I was just like,
absolutely.
Tank was like, should I do it? And I was like, look, mate, I'm not going to drop out because I'm here to play the tournament. I wanted to do really well. I'd won 2 games, so I was happy. But like, I said to him, like, look, we've been here 3 hours and we're still not doing anything. Like, go and enjoy Vegas, go and have a good time. So they went out and had a good time.
For a lot of people, you're looking at maybe like a once, twice in a lifetime chance to go out and do something like that, right?
Yeah, exactly. You booked a show, you paid.
I can't give anyone
paid
grief for that.
I don't know how much tickets are, but let's say they're $100. $100. That's a lot of money to waste to play Warhammer when you should have finished like 3 hours ago. And again, I'm not blaming the judges. This is a bit of a rant now, because the problem is I've released a battle report with Nick, and one of the first comments was, "Did Nick dropped out of his second after he lost? So that's rubbish."
Sure. I mean, I imagine that had he not had a loss in either game or game 2, he probably would have stayed on because he could then have potentially won the LVO. But I also imagine that if he'd lost in game 1, he still would have played in game 2.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I can't blame the guy for wanting to drop, and like, fair play, you know. He brought a YOLO list. It was kind of like a one-trick pony. He lost his second game. Okay. He waited around until, I think I said 8:30. It must have been 8 o'clock. He dropped before the pairings went live. But like, you know, that's the end of the day. He dropped at the end of the day, basically. And the pairings still hadn't been done. He just went, which is fine.
Yeah.
So, sorry to like rant at you. It's just because of people that have already brought it up, and I've had to address it there. And then because the problem is it looks bad on Nick, and I'm trying to defend him because I saw it all happen and I was there. So there's a lot of people who didn't go to the event saying he dropped out after his first loss, but really it wasn't just because of that. I do think it was a factor, but it wasn't just that reason. I'm doing a lot of this. Fair. I'm doing a lot of this at the camera.
You're doing it. So you're gesturing and you're telling everyone you're gesturing, but you're not telling them what the gesture is, which I thought was really smooth.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
Yes.
Well, let's get into game 3 then, because that has taken a lot of your tournament day up. You're now playing tired, and you've had to sit idle for 3 hours, so that's difficult to keep your brain engaged.
Exactly. So do you know what I need?
So here's hoping you had a really soft opponent in game 3.
Yeah, so what I need after this long day is someone nice, which I got.
Yeah.
Someone cool, which I got. Someone easy, which I didn't get. And someone who I could beat, which I didn't get. I only bloody drew Alex bloody Harrison, didn't I? Well, Alex Harrison, the Alex Harrison, who won.
That's not a bad opponent.
Has won the LVO maybe twice, I don't know. He's won it at least once. He came second last year with Eldar Flyers and Yanari. Right? He's wearing Tank's top because he's sharing a room with us. He was like, wear this Hellstorm t-shirt because banter.
Brilliant.
And he was playing the bloody Possessed Bomb, which is like such a janky list. It's unreal.
It's a solid answer to your force, I think.
Yes. But the problem is I was jet lagged. So at 8 o'clock, like
Is
Vegas
that the kind
time.
of jet lag that comes in small bottles and is usually slightly fizzy?
No.
Is it that kind of jet lag?
It was like 4 a.m. for us. We were both so tired, right? And I'm going to go back to the morning game. They said that you could play at 7:30, but the round started at the next round started at 9:30. So there was only 2 hours to play a game. And
That's
if you
wasn't just that.
And also, if you got into the shadow round, then you'd have to play another round at the end of the day. So potentially, if you had played that game on the morning and got into the shadow round, you would have had to play 5 games of 40k in one day.
Yeah,
which is
that's
too
a GT
much.
In one day.
There's
a kind of event that you can do that at, which is called an Ironman event for a reason.
Exactly. Where's parties? He drew Tony again, and it looked like he dropped because of that. Yeah, maybe for the red. I didn't know that, but there you go. I'm giving you the full gossip, the hot drama from my point of view, which is 100% the truth because I was there. I don't know. There you go. I've said my bit. I'll defend the guy. So I play an Alex Harrison on this board, which because we both won our games, I was already on table 88 from game 2, so I should have only gone up. But because BCP crashed and broke, I went down tables, right? And this table, if you're watching live,
that's an issue.
You can see this. But if you can't, I'm playing the Possessed. I'm playing Spearhead Assault or Hammer and Anvil or something, one of the two. And there's a magic box in the middle, and that's not where you want Possessed, and that's where the Possessed are on this picture. They're in the magic box. If we'd played same deployment on another table, he would have had an L to hide in. But then I can see the L from the back of my board, so I could put all my intercessors 36 inches away from the L. He can't warp time charge into me, and I can just keep shooting him. So that was the worst thing that happened with the pairing. Go for it.
I'm assuming then, based on the fact that on the top tables there were no magic boxes.
There were no magic boxes.
The terrain they had, there were.
A lot of the tables had magic boxes.
Where they're coming away from that.
I think they are. I think they're realizing that magic boxes are worse than L's.
Yeah, it was a solution to a problem that existed, but I think it's now created a worse problem, which is stuff like Possessed sat in there, White Scar Sense sat in there, and you can't do anything about it, and you're stuck.
Yeah, exactly. So magic box being an enclosed ruin that you can walk through, only infantry can go there. Nothing else can see through there unless you ignore line of sight. And an L is an L-shaped ruin where you can basically it's positioned on the board so you can hide it basically. So I think L's are a lot better for the game because if you want to try and attack an L, usually with a flyer, the reason they brought magic boxes in is purely because of flyers, right? If you have an L with a flyer, you fly over, but then everything that's in the L or hiding can then see you, so you get your damage out, but then they hit you back. Whereas a magic box, a flyer just can't interact; it just flies around. It's like a bird of prey, and it can't do anything.
So, and there are quite a lot of armies out there that don't have good non-line of sight as well, so they're also an auto lose in that kind of scenario.
Exactly, yeah. So basically, if you're not playing my list with laser artillery, all the Possessed go in that magic box, then they come out warp time, they're in your line, so you can't do anything about it.
Yeah, game over.
So I've been talking to Manny, because Manny basically helped write the Possessed Bomb. I also shared a room with him. We were talking about how to beat the Possessed Bomb, and he was like, just make 2 castles, man. Have one with your artillery, one with the intercessors, right? And just split them up, because the Possessed Bomb's only small. It's 20 dudes. It can hit one side, it can't hit both. So what did I do? I put everything in a corner like this, right? Everything.
That's a solid play.
Everything in the corner. And I don't know if everyone's ever seen me play with this list. I'm very methodical. I put all my infantry down in blocks, in lines, like regiments, right?
Yeah.
And as you can see, this is deployment, and I very much did not do that. I just chucked my models down because I was just so tired. Under my head, obviously, if you're watching live, you can't see this, but under my head, there's a Chaplain Dreadnought. Can you see that, Jay?
Yes.
Yeah, there's a Chaplain Dreadnought just here.
You're pointing it out, yes.
Okay. So I wish I could.
In the middle of everything else.
It's at one side of the board, at one side of this L, under my head. Okay, and then there's a box. There's a green crate, right? A green crate is deceptively large.
Yeah, it's certainly large enough to hide some Nurglings.
Yeah, it's also large enough that the Chaplain Dreadnought couldn't see past it. Right?
Oh.
So I just chucked my models down. I didn't really think about it. I chucked my Chaplain there, and he couldn't see anything. He didn't shoot once all game. Basically, what happened is Alex put all the possessed into the building, as we spoke about, and then warp timed out of it, charged in, and just wrapped everything. I was just like, turn 3, it was done. But he's a good player, right? And he's got a good list. But I've also got a good list, and I'm a decent player. And I felt like I could have given him a game. And what I was most annoyed about is because I was so tired, I just couldn't give him a game. It was over turn 2. It was just like nothing of mine could see anything. I killed the Plague Burst Crawlers. I killed the Disco Lord, like turn 2 or something, or turn 1. I think I killed the Disco Lord turn 1 because I was cheeky. Because basically what they do in this Possessed Bomb is they make the Disco Lord -4 to hit, and then they use Conceal on the Possessed. So you can only target them if they're the closest unit. You got a Disco Lord with a 2-up, 5-up, and he's -4 to hit.
Yeah.
But with Imperial Fists, you can't technically hit it with your bolters. But if you roll a 6 to hit or modified, misses, but the extra hit hits because it doesn't count as a dice roll. It's just a hit. Exactly. So essentially, with Imperial Fist bolters, your 6 is to hit. Essentially, it's kind of like orcs. A 6 will always generate at least 1 hit.
Yeah.
So I killed the Disco Lord, I killed the Plague Burst Crawlers, but then I just didn't kill anything else. And that was I'm most annoyed about. That's the disappointing part of the LVO experience was I couldn't give him a game because I was so tired because of the delay. So I'm not blaming the delay. I'm blaming the jet lag with the delay, if that makes sense. So
fair enough, dude.
There's my moan about what happened. That was pretty much the only ranty bit I've got. It was just disappointing more than anything. But there you go. So I lost that game. It was like 30 odd to like I can't remember the score. I didn't go with pictures sadly. It was like 30 odd to maybe 15 because I got like big game hunter and stuff.
But there's no shame in losing to Alex. It's a shame that you lost the way you lost and for some of the reasons that you've lost, obviously.
Yeah.
But one of the legitimate best players in the world, right there. So
yeah, exactly. I was expecting to have a loss. I was just ashamed that I didn't play the game properly because I was just done.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was game 3. After that, I went and got some food and then promptly fell asleep because the next round started at 9:30. And I played an absolute gentleman known as Paul. Here he is, me and Paul having a look at me doing a winky face, like cheeky, because he was playing Slanesh. That's why I was feeling so cheeky.
Hey.
He was playing Slanesh. He had an awesome army. He had just like 4 greater demons of Slanesh.
Yes.
Keeper of Secrets. One of them
he had the special character. Yeah. I think this army is fantastic.
He had this thing, which is a creature caster Demon Prince. There's one of the keepers. Maybe there's another picture. Yeah, it was one of the Shalaxi there. Super
They
cool.
look sick.
Absolutely beautiful army. I think it'd been painted by White Metal Games, which is a commission studio, I believe. Maybe.
Nice.
But he had that. He had 3 Iron Warriors, Deredios.
Awesome.
He had a Demon Prince of Emperor's Children, so you get the Ignore or Overwatch, always fight first. And then just like 4 Keepers of Slanesh or whatever, Keepers of Secrets. The issue I
love that army.
It's so cool. It's really, really cool. The problem was it was very much a dull game. Because of me, because of how I played it. Because essentially, if you can see this picture live, there's like there's like a box here where my suppressor is, and then I'm behind an L. And the problem was he could only just fit his base around this side, and he couldn't fit his other bases around the other side.
Oh no!
And because he's a monster, he can't charge through buildings.
Yeah.
So I just backed away from the wall. And essentially what happened was he kept coming through this funnel, and as he was coming through, I just mowed him down with Stalker Bolters.
Yeah.
He made 1 charge with the Demon Prince.
Played tower defense.
I basically played tower this game. He got in with his Demon Prince. This is turn 1 because he warp timed it, which is super cool. And then he rolled like 10 attacks or something with the Malefic Talons and Death to the False Emperor, and he rolled like 8 wounds, and I saved 6 of them.
Ouch!
It was so bad. I was like, oh god, I'm so sorry. And then
mine was the terrain against him. Dice were against him.
Yeah, and then I went in.
Army.
Power Fist went in and did 5 wounds, and I was like, oh god, I'm going to spend 3 CP and do that again.
He felt like a right sod.
Yeah, it was a really rough game. It's really cool army. He's a really nice dude. He took it well, but it's just the terrain was against him, and like the army, like as cool as it wasn't built for like. It's not a 40k army, if that makes sense. It was like it's a super combat army. If there's no terrain, it's amazing. But if there is terrain, you just hide behind it. It's got to go round, and then he just can't get in. So it was a really nice opponent, but that was like a really big win. I think it was like a 36 win or something like that.
Okay.
36-12. I appreciate I'm going a bit faster now because I'm aware of time. But then I played. Oh God, his name's Henry.
Hey, there we go.
There we go. This is the final game that I took pictures of. I actually played his teammate in the next game called Eric. But I played Henry, and he was running Iron Hands.
Uh-oh.
But he used Iron Hands flyers with a Leviathan, a Mortis Dreadnought with twin las cannons, loads of infantry and stuff. However, I jumped up tables because I've won. Do you want to know what table number I was on?
Were you on 88?
I was on 88, yes.
Hey! That was a pure guess as well.
Yeah. So this game, this is his deployment. I remember getting one of my deployment. That's my deployment. So as you can see, there's 2 Ls. So I hid all my artillery behind a wall. You have all your infantry in here. And then you like have the same on the other side and a couple of walls to like the top and stuff like that.
Nice.
And a couple of crates in the middle. So I went first. And I got super lucky because I basically took Mark for Death and Big Game Hunter because he had enough to do it. I left a Storm Talon on 1 wound. I left another Storm Talon on 1 wound, and I left a Storm Hawk on 1 wound and a Thunderfire Cannon, I believe. But they're all close together, so I almost on bombardment. I almost on bombardment at the end of the shooting phase, and I failed to do anything. So I did it with Imperial Fist as a Warlord trait.
Yeah.
That lets you do it at the end of the turn if you don't move. So I did it again, killed 3 flies and a Thunderfire Cannon.
Oh my life!
Something like that.
I was waiting for one of them to explode, but that's even better.
So I think maybe I killed 2, and I think one of them exploded and damaged the intercessors, but didn't really do much else. But he was running Iron Hands flyers, but the successor trait, so he's using Stealthy and Master Artisans. Just so you know, I'm using Imperial Fist. I ignore Stealthy. I love people who use Stealthy. Yeah. You keep doing that. I love it. So he used that. He came over super aggressive because I was hiding behind this big L. So he brought flyers to my bottom line, to my top line, and I was like, okay, you shoot me then, and then I'll shoot you back. So I nearly killed another flyer in his turn because my intercessor was just shooting it. Because it killed all my suppressors, but I'd used the Canticle on the Litany Catechism of Fire on one of my unit suppressors, and that's the first unit killed with a Storm Talon or something. Bearing in mind the strength 7, Storm Talon's toughness 6, I get +1 to wound, then wounding on 2s, re-rolling. Which is just insane. And I'm hitting on 4s because I didn't move that turn. I'm hitting on 5s the first turn, but then 4s the turn after. So that was pretty savage. But essentially what was happening was he had a Leviathan Dreadnought. And there's quite a funny story. He's got 2 flyers left. Or maybe 1 flyer left. And the Leviathan was moving towards me. So what I did, I spent like 2 minutes. I was like deploying all my intercessors like this, going like, okay, this is 28.1 inches. He can't reach me. Okay, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
I'm going to do this. Just reaching round. Okay. So you agree, if I Tremor Shell, that Leviathan, he can't shoot anything this turn. And he said yes.
Yeah.
And a funny thing came up because what I did, I said, okay, I'm going to shoot this unit first. And I rolled some dice. And I was like, I didn't technically say I'm using Tremor Shell. Do you mind if I use it? And he said, no. Yes, sorry. I do mind. She can't use it. And I was like,
okay.
Fair. I was winning at this point. Because I killed all those fights. This was like turn 2 or something. I was like, you know what? It's the LVO. Fair enough. We'll do that. So then I shot into his Leviathan. Didn't kill it. I did lots of damage to it though. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to shoot this Thunderfire Cannon. Just so you know, this one would have been Tremor Shelled. And I shot it into a flyer and did like 8 wounds to it. And he was just like, whoa. And I was like, should have let me Tremor Shell. Which is absolutely savage, but I was just like, well, you know, it's just karma coming back at you, I suppose. That point,
it's just bants, isn't it?
It's just pure banter. So what happened on this one is essentially I hid my intercessors behind the building, but kept leaving my Chaplain Dreadnought just out because it's a character, you can't target it. So he was just like pinging little things off. And on the last turn, funnily enough, a Leviathan Dreadnought, like protecting like some stuff, and I think I basically won, but I wanted to get a few more points to get a higher win. Right. And it was like, if I kill the Leviathan Dreadnought, I get Big Game Hunter and kill more. And I was like, I think I can maybe do it. So I shot all my intercessors into it and didn't kill it, and I was like, I did no damage to it because it's got like half damage, and then I think it's got 5 up feeling of pain or something. Right. I was like, okay, so it had like 8 wounds left, and I was like, okay, right, Chaplain Dreadnought, you've done this once already. And I told him the story. And I was like, I was on this table yesterday, and I was like, I killed the Mortis Dreadnought in one shot and won the game.
On the last turn.
On the last turn, the last shot of the game. And I was like, mate, it's gonna have to happen again. And he was like, it's not. And I was like, it is. So I shot with the Dreadnought, missed twice again, reroll, hit twice, rolled to wound, right? Both wound, failed both his saves. He's got 8 wounds left. I did 7 damage to it.
Oh!
I was like, oh no, you can't do this. Don't do this to me. I've got no CP left. He's got 1 wound left. I'm like, what am I gonna do? And then I remembered I've got my little Phobos captain with a sniper rifle. A strength 4, -2, and 3 damage. I was like, I'll give it a go.
No.
I'll give it a go. Roll to hit, missed. Reroll, hit. I hit twice because it's a bolt weapon. I hit on 6. Roll to wound, double 1. Reroll.
Rerolls.
1 wound. 1 failed save. And he goes boom.
Awesome.
Which got me like 2 points or something. Again, I think it was Big Game Hunter and Killmore or something like that. I've actually got the score. Oh, there we go. So yeah, I got 4 points for the final one. So it got me Big Game Hunter, and I think and then final something like that. There you go. So the score was 30-18 on that one because my Chaplain Dreadnought just hating Leviathans and stuff, just going bam, go away. It was really funny. Really, really funny. But he was a legend. I mean, there was that instant where he said, no, you can't Tremichelle, now you've rolled dice. Even though we kind of said, I'm going to use Tremichelle. But, I mean, I technically didn't say it, so technically...
Declared intent and intent are still 2 different things.
Yeah, so. I said I was going to do it, but then I didn't actually do it, so it means I didn't actually do it, so whatever.
Yeah.
But there you go. He's a really nice dude. He actually studied in the UK, so we had a bit of a chat, and he was really nice, so fair play to that guy. He's really cool. So then, I didn't take any pictures, but the last game I played Drakari. Played a guy called Eric. It was kind of a rough match for him because he had raiders and planes, and I have Imperial Fist that really like vehicles.
Yeah. That's tough.
So it was kind of rough. I basically the deployment was frontline warfare as well, so he didn't have much terrain except for the alley in the middle, and essentially did the same thing where my intercessors hid behind it and only came out when they needed to.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite funny because my Chaplain Dreadnought, I've been taking Catechism on fire every game, and I think in the last podcast or the one before, I've been saying that I really want to be able to take 2 for Catechism of Fire and Mantra of Strength, which makes him Strength 16 -4 or -3 and 4 damage rather than 3. In that game, I took Mantra of Strength because he had some Talos. And he put some Talos in the middle. I took Gangbusters on Mark for Death on them or something, and I walked my Chaplain Dreadnought into him and walked straight through them. Like 5 attacks on the charge, hitting on 2s, and then like Strength 16 and 4 damage flat. That just like eats Talos for breakfast. Honestly, I think he's using the not the standard Prophets of Fletcher. He was using like a custom Drakari detachment. It was like Dark Technomancers, which is like basically over all your weapons doing extra damage, but they cause you a mortal wound. And then another one which I can't remember. But it was decent.
Probably +1 to wound for the strength being
higher
on poison or something.
Something like that, yeah. So he basically wounded me 1 better. Yeah, he's wounding me 1 better, and he was like extra damage as well. But he had like Drazar in there, which is really cool. Drazar got beaten in combat by Tech Marine, which is really funny.
What?
Because he was
the Master of Blades versus the Master of the Foot.
That's the thing. Blades don't do very well against armor. Because he's fighting basically fighting Iron Man with 2 servo arms, just like that. It's like Doc Ock, it's like attacking him, which is really fun. But he's a really nice dude. Well, yeah, I ended up winning that one as well. I can't remember my score now because I could go check, but I just didn't bother. But yeah, it's just like Imperial Fist doing Imperial Fist things, Drakari trying to do Drakari things. But I mean, the problem is Drakari are like struggling a little bit now because they got a big nerf in the chapter approved. Because they were doing really well. Now they're not doing so good. So that was it. I won 5 games and I lost 1, Jay.
So you, like many other people, can say I'd have been undefeated at that tournament if it wasn't for that bloody Alex Harrison.
A lot of people can say that, yeah. So I put this one in because I thought it was fun. It was me on the strip, 66th on the night out, going for chicken wings. Yeah.
Happy days, dude.
Happy days, yeah.
Happy days.
So that was really fun. So there you go. That was a quick rundown of my games at the LVO. I had a great time. The delay was the delay. There's not a lot you can do about it. It did have an effect on my games, which is a real shame. But yeah. Have you got any final questions about games before we go into the... I think you've got some questions ready to go, haven't you?
Yeah, we do. So they're less about the games that you've played, because I knew to talk about those anyway.
Yeah.
But this is your first time at the LVO.
It certainly was.
And I just wanted to ask, did the event live up to your expectations as a first timer? Obviously, if we remove the BCP issues and the pairing, the event as a whole, is that what you expected it to be?
I think it was a little bit better than I expected, to be honest.
Nice.
Which is always good. If you take out the issue, obviously, the main issue. The thing is, it was not just a tournament; it was a convention as well. So there's lots of lots of stuff that happening that I didn't even get to see. There was the Games Workshop seminar, which looked absolutely rammed.
I'll bet.
It was so busy. There was like a hobby, not a hobby village. What do they call it? A vendor village.
The vendor village.
Yeah, which is really good. They had some cool things there. I got to meet the guys from Select Fuse Gaming, who also
Jason Craze.
Yeah,
love that guy.
Which was cool, and he was selling all the Creature Caster stuff because they do that now. Got to see lots of other stalls and stuff. Got to chat to the guy who makes Pop Goes the Monkey stuff. The 3D printed parts. He's pretty cool. Do you know, like, all these things? You're just like,
that.
Oh yeah. Do you know? It's like you go out and you just see, oh, it's that guy who sells all that stuff that everyone talks about all the time. You're right, mate.
Quality.
And then there's just like, it was quite funny because there's like Pop Goes the Monkey here, and then there's like GW Forge World upgrade parts here. And it's like, which one do you buy? So that's really good. That was really fun. I got my tray. I got an FLG tray with Las Vegas Open 2020 mat in it, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, it was like, I was surprised. It went rather well. I mean, the venue is really cool. Obviously, in the US, everything's ginormous. It's in Vegas, of all places. So the venue was good. There's free water, which I really liked, because I drank a hell of a lot of it because it did get quite warm. I was hanging about with the guys from Pro Tabletop, which is that 10K Atlanta event, and there's a guy with them called Mike, and he was super cool. Every time he kept coming over at intervals in my games and bringing more water, and I was just like, I love you.
Absolutely.
I gave him all my dice after the event.
That's a really good trade there, I feel. I've heard stories of people going to Vegas with like a table caddy. So
there are people with like maid trolleys. Oh, there's people with maid trolleys pushing their armies around and then bottles of water underneath and stuff.
There you go, right?
I was just like, fair play. I can't get one of them on a plane. Misfit Kev UK, would I go again? I probably would. I don't think I'm going to go to this year, but I'm going to a bit more of that in a bit anyway. I think I'm going to hit another US event this year, so.
Fair. Well, that's improved my chances of winning the LVO if you're not there. So.
But yeah, it was really good. Like, it was really well organized, barring the issue. I'm dancing around the issue. The event went well. The tables were all great. The tables all looked fantastic. Every single one had a battle mat. Every single one had themed terrain where possible. So all the terrain wasn't It wasn't like, this is a Tau mat and it has Tau terrain. But like, if you had Tau terrain, it was all Tau terrain. If you had Orc terrain, it was all Orc terrain. Or it was just generic, You know what I mean? So it wasn't like a real mishmash, which is really good. The top 100 tables I really liked. I really liked the deployment types on there. And I think, as I said at the start of the podcast, it's something that I'm looking into for our events.
Nice.
So yeah, overall, the only downside was you couldn't take your own food and drink in there, but I mean, that's fair enough. That's just event things.
Yeah, I think that's fair as well. I mean, it's not ideal for the average person, but you can understand it from a business perspective. They kind of got to do that.
I think the drinks are fairly well priced as well, which is cool. I did not go to the AVN, no.
not that you're going to admit on air.
I walked past it a few times, kept looking in, but I was like, nah, I'm not going. It looks super expensive. Man, Vegas Strip is so weird. Like, there's people just outside. I'm not going to repeat the slogans on air. I will text them to you in a bit, though. But, like, they basically had what I'll describe as top trump cards of questionable people that are maybe off the strip that men or maybe women might want to call and hang out with for money. And they're basically just like, I haven't got any cards. I've got some paper.
Friend service. You can hire a friend.
I've got some Munchkin cards, and they were basically like this, like. And if you listen to the podcast, I apologize for the noise. But basically, they're slapping the cards together and just trying to give them you, like like trying to start a fire with the cards. Like, take one. She's really hot. Take one. She's blonde. Cool. Only $70. Boom, boom. And it was just like, what the hell is going on? But literally, like, everywhere they were there. Like, you walk down the street, and if you wanted to collect them, you could probably have a full Magic deck ready to go of top trumps. Every 50 meters, yeah. Yeah,
but what you really don't want to draw is the swamp out of that deck, right?
It's just insane. And there's another one as well. There was a van in the US. You have like trucks with like A-frames on for advertising.
Yeah.
And there was one, and it had, let's say, characters from the Top Trump game that everyone was playing. And there was one. It was like, call 6969696 to invite this character to come play video games with you. And I was just like, obviously I remember that number because it's funny. But then just behind it, another A-frame truck in bright lights said, Jesus loves you, do not call that number. Oh, mate, it was so funny. It was so funny. I was just like, that is amazing. Absolutely amazing. There's also a traffic sign, which is a highlight.
Holy roller.
Yeah. There's also a traffic sign that said road work ahead. So I took a picture. Because obviously, if anyone watched Vine or knew Drew Gooden, it's like, road work ahead. Well, I sure hope it does. Which is just amazing. Hey, Chris, how you doing? Just absolutely fantastic. Yeah. The other thing as well, I've got to make sure I shout her out because she's my lovely girlfriend. Obviously, it was my birthday whilst I was in Vegas on the Thursday before the event. I turned 26. And she gave me a birthday card, as you do on birthdays. That's what normal people do. It had $20 in it, and it said, here's $20. Put it on 13 and buy yourself a beer. And I was like, okay, thanks, darling. Got me $20 to go gambling in Vegas. What an absolute legend. So on the Thursday, bearing in mind I got there on the Wednesday, been gambling already, but I hadn't. I'd just been with other people. And we were just leaving this venue. We were in Paris, of all places. Bearing in mind, my girlfriend loves Paris.
Nice.
This is important, by the way. It was really good. So she loves Paris, and I was like, I'm in Paris. This is cool. And then we were leaving, and I was like, oh, 1 minute. I'm just going to put $20 on 13 because Alex told me to. She told me to, so I will, and I'll tell her how it goes. So I put it on 13, thinking nothing of it. And it only went and came up, didn't it?
Hey.
I won $700.
That's pretty good, man.
So I'm frantically texting her. I'm shaking at this point. I like Tank put $20 down on I think his number from rugby or something like that. And I was like, oh my god! And he was like, what? And I was like, I've won. He said, how much have you won? Like $50. I was like, no, it's 35 to 1. Just won 700. This is amazing. Awesome. So then I frantically cash out, and I'm like shaking. I'm like, it's my birthday! I just won loads of money. There she is. Thank you, darling. That was hilarious.
Absolutely banging time. So yeah, that's fantastic.
I took everyone for a single chicken wing after that.
A single chicken wing,
one each. Yeah.
You generous mother lover.
Exactly. Yeah. So that was really fun. So was that. I think pretty much that's it. I wanted to go out in Vegas. Wanted to go like clubbing and stuff, but I was just too tired every day.
I can imagine. It's a long day, even without the rest. After a tournament, I'm always prepared for a day.
Yeah, Misfit kept saying, so the AVN was not that much now.
that was $700 off the entry.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, is there any more questions you've got before me, Jay?
I think we've pretty much covered everything that I wanted to ask. We've got some Hellstorm premium questions, obviously.
Sure. So we'll move on to those before the end of the show. Did you pay back those $20 to the girlfriend? No, I took her for dinner last night.
That's going to cost more than $20. You know, she definitely paid that.
Definitely won on that one.
She's in credit on your birthday.
So at the end of each show, thank you very much for listening, everyone. At the end of each show, you have the premium group question time, which is questions that people have put forward to us that we make sure we answer at the end of each show. So we have a few to go through. I've kind of gone through some of them, so I'll read them out and say we've already answered that. But from Jamie, we had, how about a rundown of LVO for those that want to attend a big event? What sort of money are we talking? Ticket, flight, hotel. So if you win $700, it's a lot cheaper than what it should be.
That helps. Yeah.
It does, yeah.
Definitely.
So it wasn't cheap. It was quite an expensive trip. Basically, the flights, we went premium economy, which is what I'd recommend. It's basically a comfier seat. You get drinks and stuff like that. You have a TV to watch. I watched Spider-Man Far From Home on the way back, which is great.
That's a brilliant film.
Yeah, I fell asleep through, so it's fine.
It's a good film.
Yeah, it was, I believe, because Tank bought them, I think it was about £800 for the flight. It was $100 for the ticket, so another like 80 quid or something. And then the hotel we shared, because there was 4 of us in a room, which we basically top and tailed into two double beds. I think that was like $1,000 in UK money. So that was like, it was like $2,000 basically. But well, it was $1,000 in total. We split it between 4.
Yeah.
So it's like 250 quid.
250 plus your flights, then so that's $1,000 for that. Then
you're looking at like 1,300 quid. Yeah, 1,100 to get there. Then you've got all your drinks to pay for, which obviously you're away. You're in Vegas, so it's expensive. If you gamble, then drinks are free. So there you go. There's some like economical.
Gamble and drinks are free.
Economical advice for you there.
Make out a winner on that one.
More than likely, yeah.
So what do you mean I can't bet my car keys?
I left my car keys in the UK, thankfully. So you can have my car. You just got to go collect it from the UK. Enjoy. So yeah, it's not cheap. It's expensive, but I do think it's worth it. But I don't think it's something you go to every year, unless you live in the US. Someone from the UK every 2 years, it's very affordable. Put £50 a month away or something, you'll have loads of spending money. I didn't actually spend that much while I was there because, like, I didn't drink a lot of alcohol. I was mainly drinking water because of air conditioning, and you're in a desert. Yeah, it's so dry. So I was just drinking water all the time. So I only spent a couple $100, but you can get away with like maybe $50 a day or something if you play smart. If you're not doing any gambling.
Nice.
So there you go. So that's something to consider.
Well.
Oh, if you gamble well, yes, you do. It does become a lot cheaper. Would you plan your next big event different, longer stay, stuff like that? I don't think. I think I stayed there just long enough. Maybe an extra. Maybe land a bit early because I got there on the Wednesday and left on the Monday. Maybe land a bit early on the Wednesday because I got there Wednesday night because the jet lag was killer. Yeah. I didn't really. I was up at 4 a.m. every day, which is like 2 p.m. in the UK. Because I just couldn't sleep properly. So the first day I slept in was the day I left. Obviously.
Wow.
Typical.
Wow. I mean, when I go, what will be next year now? Because I definitely my plan. I'm looking for a longer stay because I'm going to stay sort of 5 days in Vegas. So you've got a tournament day either side of that. And then we go see a friend in Miami for 5 days. So that's the sort of thing I'd do if I was going to go out there.
Yeah. Yeah. I did miss the bar crawl, because I went for chicken wings instead.
I feel like you've probably won on that deal though too.
I went
some chicken wings.
I went for chicken wings 4 times. It's amazing. Parmesan garlic and classic. So nice. Where did you get your unit markers from? I'll send you a link, buddy. Aside from the games,
here's a question that I think is brilliant. Did you graffiti like/subscribe or please sub in the bathrooms with the web address?
No, I didn't. No.
Mr.
I did stick a sticker on one of the tables though, underneath. I mean, what? That wasn't me. Another question was, aside from the game themselves, what was the best bit of the event? I've kind of gone through those already. What YouTube celeries did you meet? Well, I met Celery 1, Celery 2. No, I actually met lots of cool dudes. So I met Kenny from Long War. I met Juice. I met Juice. Me and him got on really well. I met Jim Vessel. I met Richard Siegler, which was really nice. a little bit. I had a little bit of a fanboy moment because I was like, I didn't speak to him. He obviously won the LVO. He was just collecting his trophy. I was like, hey man, well done on your win. He's like, thanks, Mikey. Really enjoyed the LGT stream. And I was like, the winner of the LVO just said my name. That was really cool. One thing, I did meet Atom Smasher from Tabletop Minions, who's been a really
love that guy.
He's been a really big inspiration of mine. He's actually one of the guys who I was watching when I was thinking about signing up YouTube. So I met him, which was really cool.
Nice.
I think that's about it really for big celebrities that people might know. I met like TJ Lanigan and a lot of the big American players, which is cool, but like no other like YouTubers and stuff. Well, obviously I met Pro Tabletop guys. They were pretty cool as well. And I'm planning. The reason I'm not going to LVO next year is because I think I'm going to go to their event in December.
Warzone Atlanta? Is that
it's the Atlanta Open, which is
Atlanta
the
Open.
Yeah, so they run Warzone Atlanta as well, but Atlanta Open is like the big esports style. If you win, you win 10k type event, which I think I want to hit. Which would be sure.
Well, that's one way to pay for Vegas, baby.
Oh yeah! If I win, then I'm going to go to Las Vegas as well.
You take misses with that too.
Yeah, exactly. Alex says, interested to know more about the decision to move away from BCP. Obviously, it was a big see up at the LVO. Was it unforgivable? I saw the apology note on Facebook and understand how it happened. Do you think Mod 2 Yos will do the same? So basically, this question is because I've announced in the Hellstorm 5 group that we're moving away from BCP and going to use Down Under pairings instead. It's kind of linked, but not really, because I don't think that BCP will crash when you're running an 18-man event. But there's lots of features. I was basically speaking to Adam, who was on the 40k stats show coverage of the LGT. LGT, LVO. So he was on there, and I was speaking to him about the features that Down Under Pairings has, and I really like them in terms of streaming. So we're going to be moving towards that, I believe. I kind of said we are using Down Under Pairings, but I was also very jet lagged, so I'm pretty sure we're gonna, but I need to test it first. So for the RTT, we're using BCP, then we're going to test it for the next event.
Cool.
So that's that one. Max says, obviously you bossed it, but how hard did you find keeping your concentration? Any tips on keeping your focus / playing your best? Eat healthily where you can. Eat light food. Don't eat heavy food. Drink hell of a lot of water, like I did. But yeah, as I've mentioned in Game 3, I was so tired. I just played it so badly. But yeah, eat well, but eat healthily. Don't eat loads. I was eating crap in the evening, but during the day I was eating like nice stuff. I was eating a lot of fruit and stuff like that.
Anytime I go to an event, I treat it like going to a sporting event. So I make sure I eat well beforehand. Like you just said, eat plenty of salad, plenty of vegetables, keep nutrition good, stay hydrated. Don't eat a lot of salty stuff, energy drinks, stuff like that. You'll just feel crap for days.
Yeah, exactly. So I was just trying to make sure I didn't eat too much as well, because if you eat too much, you end up with a stodgy stomach. It ends up slowing you down. 60% of your daily energy is spent on your digestive system, so try and keep it light. And that's a fact. 60% is quite a lot.
Good work.
I think last one from Alex. Seeing others mention the BCP disruption, do you feel all the weight contributes to your loss? I feel like it was definitely a factor. I think I was in a losing battle already, as we already mentioned. Jet lag plus weight equal tired wargamer. Yes, I was super tired. Yeah, so basically, as I said, I've kind of covered that. But basically, jet lag and 3 hours delay was rubbish. So drinking when the bar opens is bad for gaming. Yes, it is.
Depends what you're drinking.
Yeah. So overall, I really, really enjoyed the event. There was issues, but I would go back. I'm not going back because it was bad. I'm not going back because I want to. I'm using Warhammer as a vessel to travel the world. Because I haven't been.
It's good, man.
I haven't been out of the country except for Warhammer since I was 6. Yeah. I haven't been out of the country without taking Warhammer since I was 6. So, what would I do differently next time? In what regard? Which bit? Like, I probably need a little bit more specific. I've kind of gone through some stuff I do. Yeah. Recommend it to new players like your first game? God, no. Do not go to LVO as your first game.
not as your first game. It's your first event, I suppose. If you're in the US and you want to see the spectacle, then sure, I get it.
Yeah.
Just make sure you go there with the right expectations. Otherwise, you're going to come away disappointed.
Exactly. Yeah. Is it really that much better if it's that huge? It's good, don't get me wrong, but it is just, you don't really get to talk to the organisers. You don't really get to talk to people except for your group of mates because there's so many people there. So it's kind of like it's just like any other event. It's just better. I mean, it's pretty insane when you see like 800 people playing Warhammer, but I mean,
yeah,
there's nothing unique
really
about
is just bragging rights, isn't it?
Like, it is. It's
coming
just
first at a 15-man tournament and coming first an 815-man tournament is.
Yeah, exactly. Like if I come 66th at Cali Uprising, I'd be very disappointed. But I came 66th at LVO, and I'm very happy about it. I think I said on the podcast, if I come top 100, I'm living the dream.
Yeah,
which
exactly.
I did, so
yeah, top 50 there is like being top 5 anywhere else. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it doesn't really do anything new. It's just humongous. Nice. Like, would you fly in earlier? Would you do something differently in preparation? Yeah, so I probably, as I said, I'd probably fly in on the Wednesday morning, so go a little bit early so you can kind of adjust to the time zone a little bit faster. Well, more time to adjust to the time zone. That was the main thing I would do. I'm gonna tie two questions together because I've got a question from Rob that says, would you make any changes to your list? But generally, I think I played the event well enough to what I could. I do think there's some minor changes I could make. So essentially, I've changed my list ever so slightly. So I've dropped some intercessors, but I've got more incursors in instead of the infiltrators, which are good, basically scouts, but better for less points. And then I've made 3 units of 10 strong intercessors and put it in a battalion and made that Indomitus Crusaders. Because what Richard Siegler did by turning his Iron Hands into White Scars into the last turn blew me away. And I was like, I'm pretty sure I was only supposed to take this detachment for Iron Hands, but now I'm wrong. So I tested it against Dan and became White Scars, not to advance and charge, but to ignore the penalty for moving and shooting with Imperial Fist, which is really fun. So, yeah, Indomitus Crusaders, man. I mean, I was kind of just going to take it anyway, but then I decided last minute not to. And I don't think it would have made much of a difference in my games. But I think taking the list...
We talked about it on our last podcast, didn't we?
Yeah.
The fact you'd had that and nobody else seemed to have that. And obviously you've got the Grey Shields thing. I think that crossed either of our minds that was even a possibility. So
yeah, because I basically, when I thought of it, I was like, I don't want to take Indomitus because I want to take the 6+ Feeling of Pain, but I can't take that if I go second because I get hit before I get to use it, feel the benefit. I didn't really think about any other thing, like what I could just sit behind this wall and become Salamanders, ignore AP1, for example. So I didn't really consider it too. I didn't think about it too much. But the way I've changed my list is basically I know I have 5 infiltrators that sit somewhere either on an objective or blocking a wall, blocking a movement path, and then I can drop those 5. I can drop 3 intercessors, but then replace those 8 bodies with 10 incursors.
Nice.
So then I've got 2 units to do the same thing. So now I can block 2 paths, for example. If you're playing against knights, basically what you do is you use incursors or scouts to just block them, and you go, okay, you go first.
Yeah.
You can't walk through me.
Yeah.
So now I've got 10 2-wound bodies to do that.
That can come back to bite you in the ass. Because I had somebody try and do that to me at a table, a local event I ran this weekend.
Yeah.
And they forgot to count for things like consolidates and pile-ins to be able to move. So basically, I'm going to move out with my knights, shoot a load of stuff, kill something in combat, and then almost fire and fade to get around terrain to hide myself.
Yeah. It's obviously not, it doesn't work on every board, but it's something you have to watch out for. John Swallow says just drink through it. Yeah, maybe I should have done that.
So, John, you can do that, but you have a skill of doing that.
Yeah, exactly.
So...
How would I compare it to the LGT? I mean, it's basically the same, just a better venue with more toilets.
We're going to gloss over that now.
It was just a better venue. I mean, like the athletics place is nice, but like being in a hotel venue, like an hotel function room, is much better, obviously. But otherwise, it's just the same. I liked the way they did the table. I'm not going to talk about the game too much, but I like how the way they did the tables at LVO with the changing deployments, as I've discussed. Mm-hmm. Because at LGT, because you've got one deployment type, then you can just build your army for that. Doesn't matter what table you roll. You know what the terrain's going to be like. Whereas LVO had moving terrain, which is good. So the terrain was.
We spoke about that earlier on as well, and
Yeah.
I think it's quite good the fact you can diversify it a little bit.
Yeah, I would say the terrain's painted nicer at LVO than it was LGT. I imagine there's a lot more funding behind it. They've been doing it a lot longer than LGT, I think. But like you had the GWLs on the top tables, which are like all detailed. Every detail been painted. All the LED lights have been OSL'd and stuff like that. So it was really good.
Nice. But I hate those mats. The GW like plastic playing surface.
Yeah, they didn't use them. They had
The
battle
noise.
mats, but they had the new Kill Team ruins. Like every table
I see.
had 2 big L's, but they were GW.
Quality. Very, very cool. I want some of that scenery. It's very, very pretty.
Yeah, it was really good. They had some foam stuff, but that was just the hill rock things that was at the back. So yeah, it was good terrain, to be fair. They obviously got invested quite a lot in it, so. But I mean,
that's been a pretty good podcast, I think. If anyone else has got any questions from the chat, right.
Quickly do it now before I go through. I'm going to go through all the stuff. So thank you very much for listening. I really, really appreciate everyone tuning in. We do a podcast every single Monday on 7:30 GMT or BST, depending on what time of year it is, depending on what we fancy. If you want to follow the podcast, you can follow it on YouTube or Twitch or Facebook if you like. If you want to listen to the podcast as a podcast itself, you can listen on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, Podbean, and Hellstormwargaming.co.uk. If you want to follow me, you can follow me on Twitter at Hellstorm_Mikey, or you can follow me on Instagram at Hellstorm Wargaming. If you want to follow Jay, where can they find you, Jay?
Anywhere with @Mohawk Miniatures, so Facebook, Instagram, Twitch. We stream 3 nights a week, Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, live at 9 UK time, where you can see me paint. We try and do a lot that's there for either novice or beginner painters, so you can learn and improve your game.
If you want to join the conversation, if you want to, I know we answered some questions in chat, but obviously it's a big event, so I thought I'd answer those as well. But if you want a dedicated question time at the end of the show, known as the premium question time, you can join the conversation, facebook.com/group/Hellstorm Wargaming premium community by subscribing to hellstormwargaming.co.uk to support support us, support the channel, and also just get involved in that group. You can also do it through Patreon if you want to. And there's also an extra link on YouTube if you're watching, because I've just opened a GoFundMe for live coverage camera. It's very, very expensive, and I can't afford it. So thank you everyone who's donated so far. If you can spare a few quid, then that would be amazing. I am selling most of my belongings to try and buy one. It's a swoosh and zoom camera. It's very pretty.
I wish you the absolute best with that, man. I'll be definitely putting some money your way for it.
Thank you very much. As I said, so if you want to support the podcast, you can do that. Or if you want to just support the challenge, you can help out there. Although you can support Jay directly on twitch.tv/Mohawk Miniatures and go and subscribe tomorrow or Thursday or Sunday.
Well done.
Yeah!
3 podcasts in and he's nailed it.
Yeah! He's just said it as well. Yeah! So there you go. So I think that's the end. No more questions. Thank you very much for listening, everyone. I love you all. And good night.
Peace out, everyone.